did it. And they deserve kudos for that, because all the rest of us then followed suit. But anyway, we took my wife to Colorado, had to break the law. I was given a choice, my wife or the law. Well, I kind of listened to my friend Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood. In the original Dirty Harry movie, he had a great quote. They told him about a situation, and Harry Callahan looked and said very loud, well, then the law's wrong. So as Dirty Harry said, the law's wrong. Mm-hmm. And so we drove her to Colorado, arrived there. My friends had to break the law because we were not Colorado residents. They went in and got it, 3 drops under the tongue. And then from that point, they had to send it to me illegally. I couldn't get it. 3 drops under the tongue that day. My wife has never had a seizure since.
Oh my God.
Has never had one since. Cannabis did it. By itself, I don't know what's in the shit. All I know is that it worked. She is, and today, she's still. Then we faced, when Minnesota did legalize medical, $600 a month. I turned to my wife, I said, that's a mortgage. We could move to Colorado. I could get all I wanted for fun, and you can get what you need. Let's move to Colorado. Well, fortunately, the prohibition kept being dropped. It then dropped to 300. And here's the neat part that pisses you off. My insurance, health insurance, would pay for all the seizure medicine that didn't work, but they won't pay 1 cent for the cannabis that does work. Now, what the hell's the justice in that? They'll pay for what don't work, but they won't pay for what will work. Well, fortunately, we're here now, and now I'm with Retro Bakery. My wife gets her stuff free. Payback's a bitch. Anyway, though, no, she gets it free now. She is still seizure free, and it is completely because of cannabis, marijuana that has occurred. And it was at that point that I dedicated and said, I'm not getting involved in nothing else. I'm going to get involved in the cannabis, marijuana business. I'm going to ensure I don't want no family, especially in Minnesota, to go through what we went through.
Damn right.
I don't want anybody, I want it to be able to walk in here and get what the hell you want and need. And in my wife's case, it wasn't wanted, it was needed. She has not had a seizure since.
And
not a one.
Affordable. You know?
Yeah, well, now it is.
Now it is.
And, well, I'll tell you this. The biggest expert on cannabis told me it's a mistake to categorize it medical and recreational. He said it's BS. The whole plant is medical. Those that smoke it for the euphoric feeling are doing it for mental health, post-traumatic stress, whatever it might be, mental health. And you know who that expert was that told me that? He should know. His name's Tommy Chong.
Oh, yeah.
Well, everybody laughs because they think, oh, Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
But believe me, Tommy is a brilliant man. If you meet Tommy Chong, you'll meet a guy that knows what the hell he's talking about, and he's brilliant. That guy you see in the movies, that's seeing his brilliance. He becomes that. But Tommy knows that. He's an expert when it comes. And, you know, they put him in prison, you know.
Yeah.
Full raid. And the guy busts in the door and has the nerve to say to Tommy Chong, where's the marijuana? And Tommy looked at him and said, well, some in the kitchen, some in the bedroom. I'm Tommy Chong, it's all over the house. Gee, what a surprise for the authorities. Where's the marijuana? I'm Tommy Chong. Some great police work.
Hi.
Hi.
Is it okay I introduce this for a quick interview?
Yep. You guys want to hear an interview?
Wanna
We'll
know
put
what
her
she
on the
asked?
spot. Here's her chance now. She's under the gun. She got to get this for a job. Look at, I got her nervous already. You know, you really got it tough too. Most people get a cameraman.
Yeah, I do it all myself.
Do you like it that way?
I do.
Okay, because I was gonna I'd put a word in for you. Say, don't send the poor girl with a myself. Send the camera person away. That way you can concentrate on this and not both. They should. They're being cheap. They are. They're being cheap.
So I'm gonna start.
Do you want me to hold it?
Just leave it on there.
Okay.
I'll pick up what you say.
All right.
I'm gonna start with your name and how it's spelled.
My name is Jesse Ventura, and it's Ventura.
And your title?
My title?
Yeah.
I have so many. Which one would you like?
Which one do you want to use?
I guess I'll say the 38th governor of Minnesota.
So we know recreational marijuana recently became legalized. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's wonderful and long overdue. I tried to do this almost 25 years ago when I was governor. And what it did in the story I told the people here, it lit the match. And when I left office, the match became a small fire. And enough people kept that fire alive for 20 years that today it came out and cooked us dinner. And what I mean by that is it's now legal. What should have happened, it should have never been illegal to begin with.
So where do you want Minnesota to go with the legalization?
It should be treated identical to what you do with beer, alcohol, or anything else. And it's actually better because marijuana should not be divided into medicinal and recreational, medical, recreational. The entire plant is medical. Those that smoke it for the euphoric feeling are doing it for their mental health, like post-traumatic stress and things of that nature, combat veterans. I'd rather have them using cannabis, marijuana, than to use, what's that stuff? Help me out.
Oxycodone, Vicodin.
Well, all them, and the latest stuff that kills
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl. There, thank you. I'd rather, marijuana's never killed anyone. You can't overdose it. And guess what? You don't even get a hangover the next day. Can I rest my case?
And then I know you recently started Jesse Ventura Farms. How do you feel about doing that?
I feel wonderful about it. It's my son and 3 of his partners. They got together during the height of the pandemic, and they wanted to create a business, so they studied. And you know what they found out? During the pandemic, the cannabis business was the only business in America that grew. It got bigger during the pandemic. It grew because it's a business waiting to happen. And that's why they chose the cannabis business. Then they thought, do you think your dad would participate? And of course I would. It's my son. And so going into business with your son, what father wouldn't dream of that? I don't think there's any father that wouldn't want to go into business with his son and his partners. And all they need out of me is my name. And for me to come out and promote, which I do well anyway, and all of that, and be part of it. And it's something I believe in.
So I know social equity started a couple weeks ago. Do you plan on applying at some point?
What?
Social equity for like business licenses for selling marijuana and cannabis.
I don't have to do that.
Okay.
We don't have to do any of that.
Do you plan
I'm already in. I don't have to do anything more than I'm doing right now. We're signed with Retro Bakery. Retro Bakery does that.
Okay.
I don't have to. I'm like Willie Nelson. You know who Willie Nelson is? What? What?
Oh, we found a young one.
Yeah, the reaction for. She don't know who Willie Nelson is.
Oh my God.
That's no excuse.
She will now.
She says she's 25.
Look it up, I know.
How can that be? That's no. Is there anyone else here that don't know Willie?
No one's going to admit it now.
Very good. No one's going to admit it now. No, Willie, I'm stunned. No,
One of the greatest country music performers to ever walk planet Earth, and a consummate cannabis proponent.
Yeah, he has his own line of cannabis, and that's what I'm doing. And I'll make a confession. How many people know what vaping is? I vaped the first time with Willie Nelson in his living room in Austin, Texas. First time I ever tried it, Willie, and I loved it so much, Willie said, I'll send you one. Within a week, he sent me my first thing that does vape. Came from Willie Nelson. Just, no, Willie is synonymous, country, western, and cannabis. He's doing what I'm doing. Only he's been doing it for a couple years already. In fact, he's quit singing. He's totally in the cannabis business like I am now. I've quit everything else. This is my focus now. I'll be 73 next month. When you get older, you got to limit what you do. And I'm lucky to do this. I'm lucky to do this. You know why? I could have been derailed. This winter, Bobby Kennedy and I met for 3 hours. I came in second. Or I'd be running with Bobby Kennedy for president.
Should have wrote a bigger check. Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Well, I think we could have won Minnesota.
Absolutely. You two would have been a far better option than the two geriatric corpses that are out there now.
Well, Bobby and I are both in. Bobby's 70 and I'm 72. We'd be the spring chickens. But no, Bobby chose the woman. That was his choice. And from that point, I moved on and focused on my cannabis, which is where I'll be. This has been in the works for 3 years now, 4 years. And this is my focus now. I'm not going to be in politics at all. But I just wanted to mention for people that Bobby and I did meet. And I still believe in the third party, that we need more than two choices. And this would have been the year. I'll tell you this. How many people here you all saw? Is there any doubt from anyone that if I would have been in the debate Thursday, I'd have won it? Any doubts from any? I've always maintained if they gave me ballot access in all 50 states and let me be in the debates, I could beat either one of these guys. And now I believe it even more so.
What's your golf handicap?
What's that?
What's your golf handicap? Yeah.
Oh no, I tell the truth. Mine is about a 19 or 20. I play bogey golf, and I don't lie about it. If I play bogey golf, I play at the TPC. That's where the pros play. If you can play bogey golf there, you're doing all right. But I don't lie about my handicap. I'm a bogey golfer. If I get a par, that's kind of like getting a birdie. And if I get a birdie, it's like an eagle.
Thank you.
But I solved it this year, guys. You got to go to whippier clubs. I was playing them stiff-shafted Callaways that I had when I was in my 40s. Lost 20 to 25 yards on everything. I've now switched to Exio. Ernie Els plays them. Phenomenal. It's gained me my distance back. Exios.
Thank you.
Is that all you wanted?
Yep.
Okay.
It'll be on tonight.
And I'm sorry. Oh, I won't be here. I'll be up there.
It'll
I'll
be on
see
tonight
it.
at 6 and 10.
Now, are you going to tell about the reaction of you not knowing Willie?
Hey, listen, if that gets cut, you're in trouble. Yeah. Don't cut that part out.
You know who Elvis Presley is?
My parents are orchestra teachers. They taught me Elvis Presley.
Okay.
Do you know who Mick Jagger is?
Kind of.
Yay.
They kind of put like a certain like area and time frame of the music world. So
You know, have you heard of Led Zeppelin?
love Led Zeppelin.
Really?
Also
You know
love
who
the
I
Beatles.
like who's Led Zeppelin today? I'm huge Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You know who's Led Zeppelin today, I heard? Greta Van Fleet.
Yep.
Oh boy, you nod. Yeah, my son brought it to me, right? And I'm listening. And oh my God, did they find tapes?
Right.
You know, I right away assumed they had found hidden tapes that had been recorded because it's all original stuff. And my son says, no, it's a band called Greta Van Fleet. And I thought they had found early Zeppelin tapes that no one knew of. And no, that's my new. They've brought to me. I can now go to my grave hearing new Led Zeppelin all the way, because Greta Van Fleet has replaced Led Zeppelin. Have you heard them?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing.
God!
Yep.
Even Rock. Have you heard what Robert Plant said?
No, I didn't hear what
Oh
he said.
God! I saw Robert Plant interviewed. They asked him, you know, you're an iconic band. You what you did. Is there anybody out there that you is equal, you know, like you? And Plant said, he said, yeah. He said, there's a group out of Michigan. He said, I believe they're Greta Van Fleet. And Robert goes, they're vocalist. He said, I'm jealous.
Oh, gee.
Yes, because why? Robert's 75 now. He can't hit them notes.
Right.
Did you hear what Bream wrote about Van Fleet when they played in Minneapolis, St. Paul? They complimented the lead singer. They said he's the only guy we've ever heard that can get higher than Nancy Wilson a heart. That his voice will go higher than hers.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a compliment.
Yes.
You can sing higher than Nancy because she's got pipes. And you can hit higher notes than Nancy Wilson.
Wow.
No, Plant said, I'm jealous.
Yep.
Because he said, I can't hit those notes anymore. And this young kid, you know, the Greta Van Fleet. Anyway,
Hey, will you ever smoke weed with Willie again?
if I see him,
That song?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. No, if I saw him, I'm sure I would.
Yeah. No,
I'm sure I would.
just referring
And
to the
especially
song.
now. Especially now, because we don't have to hide anymore. You know, to me, I used to travel through Colorado, and when I'd get there, I'd feel a sense of freedom. When I'd be in Colorado, I'd go, God, I can do pot tonight at the hotel or the motel, and they don't care as long as I sit out on the bench. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, you don't have to look over your shoulder anymore, and especially if you're a person of notoriety. You know.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: I never smoked once while I was governor.
Mm-hmm. No.
I wasn't going to give the Democrats or Republicans any ammunition for nothing. No. And boy, that was tough. You know who came and visited me twice? Woody Harrelson. Oh, and you know what Woody's got.
Yeah.
Woody and Willie get along. They talk all the time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Woody Harrelson and Willie Nelson. Oh, yeah. Woody's well known.
Oh, sure.
Well known. He visited me twice, and I can really get out of here. I can't be doing that shit right now. Not under these conditions, but now it's changed, and it really does. Prohibition is gone.
How do you get merch?
What's that?
How do you get merch on your website? Jesse Ventura Farms for shirts and whatnot?
Oh, go to the website, Jesse Ventura Farms. You can order. We're going to be on. We're going to be able to. What's that stuff that delivers?
DoorDash.
DoorDash.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be with DoorDash. You can call DoorDash. They'll pick it up for you.
No.
Hell yeah. Sit at home and watch everything and just call DoorDash. And they'll bring it to you.
You might have some down
Don't even have to go out to come over here and get it.
Prefer
DoorDash
if
will
you
do it.
did.
No, we're getting ready to be with DoorDash. And we're coming out with something that I thought of. I said, we need something with 35 grams of protein in it for everybody that works out. So Dr. Dabbs, our main chemist, you ought to see this guy. 4 years from the University of Minnesota, 2 years his master's, he wrote his doctorate, and he did it on the cannabis plant. So he is a doctor of cannabis.
PhD in cannabis.
PhD in cannabis. He's created for us 35 grams of protein mixed with the right cannabis. You take a shot of it before your workout. You train, and then about an hour after your workout, you'll get a shot of stuff again, this one will be the second one to relax you and make you sleep like a baby after that hard workout. And we're going to call them the body shots. The body shots. And you take one before you work out and one when you're done. And the first one will help you work out. The second one will help you relax. Because see, we're just learning the cannabis plant does all sorts of stuff. You know, different sativa is what you do during the day. The indica, you do that at night because it relaxes, makes your muscles, makes you sleep. Cannabis is like wine, I'm learning. The different strains are going to have different results on people, and you may get different results than what the next person gets from a particular strain. So we're just breaking the surface on learning what this plant can do. And why? Because they've prohibited it from us for frickin' 100 years. I've come out publicly and said the guys that prohibited marijuana, they should go to jail. They should go to jail for stopping us from having this plant. And you know who it was, don't you? William Randolph Hearst, the big paper guy. He owned thousands of acres of timberland. Well, cannabis makes better paper than wood. But he wanted the market cornered. He paid off the politicians. They made it illegal, forced us to cut down his trees. Cannabis will go 18 feet in the summer. Trees grow 1 foot, which is more renewable. Cannabis.
We can use it for biofuels. We can use it for
Everything. Willie Nelson runs his buses off it. He's got it. Yes. Willie runs his buses off cannabis.
The Yellow Rose. Hockey.
That's how deep Willie's into it. His buses, when he goes down the road, everyone probably gets high. He's behind him.
I gotta follow that bus.
Yeah, I gotta follow that bus. That bus has got unique exhaust on it. It ends up like Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
Nice dream.
Oh yeah, like the cop in the movie where after he gets in helmet, he's like, oh.
No, remember he asked him for the hot dog.
Oh yeah.
Hey, are you eating that hot dog? Oh no, you can have it. You know, they think they're going to get busted, and the cop just wants a hot dog. You know, but the future of cannabis is endless, and it's a shame that we've had to, go through what we've gone through, with all this prohibition and all the crap that went with it.
Yeah.
You know. Have I found out what?
Have you ever found out if corporate ag is against the marijuana? Because we don't know that.
Well, Monsanto's probably against it because most of you don't know. You know how Monsanto is sued now? That's become because of Bobby Kennedy. He's the one that beat them. Do you know what else he did? You can now eat fish in the Hudson River in New York because of Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy's an environmental lawyer. And I read the latest book on the real Bobby Kennedy. Do you know he wins every case? You know why? He wins every case he takes in there. Environmentally, you know why? Apparently, in our big Constitution of the United States, there's a line in there, in the Constitution of the United States, and you know what it says? You cannot pollute rivers. Bobby walks into court, it's in the Constitution. What can they do? What can they do? But then Bobby doesn't burn the corporate. He then brings them in to find a solution. Well, in our country today, don't we need to be brought together?
Yeah.
Bobby Kennedy's the only candidate that has the qualifications to do that. One part of me wishes he'd have picked me. Now, he probably saved my life by not picking me. But I was ready, and I would have loved to have been in that debate.
There's a whole bunch of cabinet positions, Jesse.
No one no damn cabinet position. No, Bobby already told me what he wants me for if he wins. And I told him I'd do this too. This is the only other job I'd do. Do you know what he wants me? What I'll do if Bobby were to win? Bobby's going to drop the embargo against Cuba. I told him I want to be the first ambassador to Cuba if the embargo gets dropped. He looked at me and said, "You got it." If that happens. No, the reason is I became friends. I got to go to Cuba. I went to Cuba. I met and spent an hour with Castro. I found him pretty cool.
Is his son down there?
What's that?
Is his son brother?
No, I don't know who the hell runs Cuba now. Raul ran it for a while, his brother. No, I don't know who's in charge now, but when I was there with Fidel,
Yeah.
and it was kind of interesting. I'll tell you a quick story. When I left office and said I wasn't running for re-election, my chief of staff came up to me and said, "You need to go to the governor's residence." I said, "Why?" He said, "Cuba." I said, "Okay," because they can't do nothing here. So I went to the governor's residence, and a car pulled up from the Swiss embassy, right? So the guy from the Swiss embassy, I bring him to the library, he says, "I'm here on behest of Cuba." I said, "Yeah, I know, I was told that. What is it?" He said, "Well, you have a message from Cuba." I said, "What is the message?" They said, "Cuba understands that you're not going to seek re-election. Cuba also understands completely why, but Cuba also wants you to know," and this is the important part, "Cuba also wants you to know that a friend of Cuba's will always be a friend of Cuba's." Well, when they said the term Cuba, that means Castro. He was sending me a message saying, "I don't care if you're in power or not, you're still my friend." I got news for this country. They should drop the embargo immediately because they think that somehow Cuba's going to get so pissed off they're going to rise up and overthrow their leaders and take us. It ain't happening, people. The Cuban people have pride. They are not going to let us win. End of story. They'd rather eat shit than let us win. So why are we doing this? Why have we done it? John Kennedy was going to stop it, and they killed him. But I thought it was pretty cool. I liked Fidel. Personally, he was straight up with me.
A little violent.
Well, you got to remember something. The man led a revolution. Put it this way. He would have never succeeded had the people of Cuba not wanted him, because he took a ragtag bunch of revolutionaries and landed with a ship. If the people would have been against him, Batista would still be the dictator. So that tells you right there, Batista was worse. And that's why I call Marco Rubio a Batista bootlicker. No, I did. Because he trashed me one day in front of Minnesota. He was up here. And I'd been out of office 10 years, and he trashed me. So I came out and said, you tell that Batista bootlicker, that, yeah, I'm friends with Fidel. And if he don't like it, come and talk to me. Fidel treated me. It's interesting because I was with him only an hour. And at 40 minutes, I glanced at my watch. I rolled him, and he caught me. And he said, "I'm sorry, am I keeping you from something?" I was caught. So I said, "Be honest." I said, "No, sir." But I said, "You've only given me an hour." And I was checking my watch to see how much time I had left. I said, "I have only 20 more minutes." I said, "I'd like to ask you personal questions." Castro looked at me and said, "Ask me anything you want." And I said, "Well, President Castro," I said, "I was 12 years old when President John F. Kennedy was killed in Dallas. I said, for my entire adult life, I've been studying that murder. And I said, there's 2 or 3 scenarios that you figure very prominently in. I said, I would just like your perception of what occurred that day in America." Oh, I couldn't shut him up. First thing out of his mouth, it was an inside job. Oswald couldn't make the shots. Right from Fidel. Inside job. What does that say?
Did he believe it was CIA?
We killed our own president.
Sure.
It was an inside job. And he looked at me and says, Oswald couldn't make the shots. He pointed. He said, "You know that as well as me." He doesn't know me. He says, "You know that as well as me." Well, he obviously found out I was a SEAL. You know? So he couldn't make the shots. And he then told me something that I found out later, completely true. He said at the moment Kennedy was killed, he was meeting with a reporter sent by Kennedy from France named Jean Daniel. Castro said, "I believe Kennedy was on the verge of reversing the policy against Cuba." And because when word came to Daniel was sitting there, Kennedy was there, or Castro, when word came in, Jean Daniel, I heard it, he said, Castro's head dropped and he stared at the floor for about 2 minutes. He then raised his head up and he said, "This is bad, this is very bad, everything is now going to change." And it did, for the worse. How many people believe Oswald killed Kennedy? How many people believe he didn't? Look at this. And yet they still won't release us the documents. That alone tells you we're right. Because if it's the story they told us, why would anything need to be locked up? It wouldn't.
Yeah, means and methods is everybody who would have been involved with that's already gone.
But they still protect it.
Yep.
Basically, we all
I was 12. I remember I was at Sanford Junior High School in 7th grade. They sent us back to our home rooms. They announced the president had been shot and killed in Dallas. They then told all of us, "You're to go immediately home." It's the first and only time I ever saw every junior high school kid walked immediately home. Nobody stopped for nothing. We went home. And that's where we stayed until Sunday morning when we got to see a live murder on television. You don't see those much anymore. A live murder. When Jack Ruby walked out and shot Oswald on live TV. There would be no trial now. Now I'll give you another little story. You want one more story?
Sure. Yeah.
When I was doing conspiracy theory, we did an episode on Kennedy. And I went and met with a man named Mr. Newman. Well, how many have seen the Zapruder film? The one where Kennedy goes by, you see him get hit? Mr. Newman is the guy laying across his children right in front of the grassy knoll, picket fence. He's lying across his children. He is the closest living witness to the headshot. I read the FBI report. He said he felt the shot came over his right shoulder. He could feel it. He then grabbed his children, threw them to the ground, and dove on top of them. Because he didn't know what was going on. Just said, we felt the bullet, and he saw Kennedy's head explode. He dove across his children, right? I read the whole report. I looked at Mr. Newman. I said, Mr. Newman, what did the Warren Commission say? If you got in front of them, this is the exact opposite. What did they say? The Warren Commission say to you? Mr. Newman looked at me and smiled and said, I was never brought in front of the Warren Commission. This is the closest living witness to the headshot, and they didn't even want to talk to him.
So was the shooter in those bushes like something?
No, he was behind the fence.
Or by a fence?
He was right where Oliver North put him in the JFK movie.
Okay.
And if you don't believe it now, go to JFK Revisited. You'll find 3 women who ran immediately down the stairs, what they said Oswald did. They all knew him and none of them saw him. He wasn't even on the 6th floor. There's 3 women that went down the stairs that Oswald supposedly had to run down due to the lunchroom to be arrested. He wasn't even on the 6th floor. Final. Here's your final argument. All right, where did they arrest Oswald? At the movie theater, Texas movie theater, because he allegedly didn't buy a ticket, and some other guy saw him go in without a ticket. Now imagine if you're the police dispatcher and you get a phone call saying, I just saw someone not buy a 65-cent ticket into their afternoon matinee. You just had the murder of the president an hour earlier. You just had the murder of police officer Tippett a half hour earlier. Now you get a phone call, someone a miles away snuck in to the movie theater without paying. Do you know what the result was? They sent 18 squad cars, 21 cops, and the news media to go bust this guy who all they knew didn't buy a ticket to go in the theater. That's got to be the greatest bit of police work in history. Now, wouldn't you, if you were the dispatcher and got that call, wouldn't you tell this guy, look it, the president's been killed, we've lost a police officer, we got bigger fish to fry, guy. I ain't worried about somebody sneaking in the theater, goodbye. Oh no, 18 squad cars and news media went down, reported the arrest. We've all seen it, where they were taking him off to jail. Oh, that right there, when you learn that, come on. He went to the theater, he was meeting his handler. Oswald was a low-level intelligence agent who got set up. Well, when they walked him by, interesting words, I'm just a patsy. Whoever says that? Most people say I didn't do it. I'm innocent. Oswald said I'm just a patsy. In other words, he knew he was getting set up by his own people.
Were you ever approached by the government and kind of said, you're talking too much, be quiet?
Yeah. I got that when I went to Dealey Plaza. We were leaving. I was smoking cigars yet, book tour, so they let me go down on the tarmac. I was still bumming on cigars. They come got us. We'd gone to Dealey that day because I'd never been there. They then took us up the steps then to the plane that I could get on. As we started to go, one of the Dallas guys held me by the elbow and made me stay behind, grabbed my elbow. Everybody went up. He leaned into me and he said, Governor, he said, the things you're looking into, he said, be careful. He said, be very careful. There's a lot of people that don't want that above board anymore. And I thought to myself, are you shitting me? It's the turn of the century and I'm getting warned not to delve into the killing of Kennedy. Who's still alive?
House of Cards collapse is what we hear about this.
That's what it is. I can proudly say, though, that I found out on a podcast, when you go to Dealey Plaza now, you can get this headset where they have 6 options there. I'm option 6. You push the button, you'll hear me say, as the 38th governor of Minnesota, I want to state for the record that I do not believe the findings of the Warren Commission, and I do not believe the official story on who killed John F. Kennedy. That's there now. I am so proud of that, because it'll be there for history now. And that's why I wrote the book. When I wrote the book, 63 Reasons Why They Killed Our President, I didn't write that book for money. I didn't write it for the knowledge that I put out there. I wrote it because I wanted 50 years from now the public to know the 38th governor of Minnesota was not buying the killing of Jack Kennedy. And I want that out there forever, ever, amen. Because I don't believe it. Don't believe it at all.
be willing to sign a few items?
Sure.
We could have you all.
Now, if it's wrestling shit, one. It ain't gonna be this crap where you come up and give me 14 fucking picture. Excuse me.
Is Vince going to be put away?